Chapter 1 Argent. In the beginning of the creation of the cardinal world, Veldanava created the 7 primordial angels. And to balance itself out, the world, or more specifically the primordial spirit of darkness, gave birth to the 7 primordial demons. However, it was never recorded or found proof, but in the nearest memory of the 7 demons they may have caught a glimpse of another demon being born alongside them. But they had never seen it after that event. Like it was purposely being reborn in another location to hide its identity. It was dark. The entire area was shrouded with eternal darkness. The ground looked like ruined pavement left alone. He was reborn as a demon. Not just any demon with the last bit of life within Raphael. It made sure he is strong enough to survive on his own. That's why he took a small fraction of the power of the primordial spirit of darkness. To make sure that at the very least he should be one of the strongest demons. Right after his rebirth he was teleported away from there. So that the other primordial don't notice him. He slowly awaken. And the first thing he felt was intense pain. Ag, HH. He shouted on the top of his imaginary lungs. Because of his soul only having 30% of its original volume as well as cracks in what's left. He is currently unstable, especially his astral and spiritual body. Enough that one attack on his soul is enough to kill him permanently, no revival whatsoever. It took him 3 whole years just to get used to the pain of having an unstable soul. After which he finally had time to process the situation at hand. First thing he did was try recalling what he knew and what he needed to do. I don't remember. His voice spoke for the first time since rebirth, and the first words were said with trembling fear. He knew he was supposed to do something. He knew someone saved his life. He knew someone gave him another chance of life. He knew he needed to get strong. But he doesn't remember why, or who, or even who he is. Who saved him? Why did they save him? What does he need to do? Why does he feel he need to get stronger? Why? Decades have passed and he is currently practicing his skills and abilities. He wasn't quite sure yet where he was. He just knew that there wasn't anyone else in the area. His current skills and abilities are as follows. Name: Nameless Demon. Title: Silver Semi-Primordial. Argent. Race: Greater Demon. Semi-Primordial. Gender: Currently male. No gender. Age: 63 years old. Hair color: Short silvery light blue. Eye color: Golden yellow. Skills: Unique skill Predator. Predation. Stomach. Analysis. Mimicry. Isolation. Extra skills Sage. Thought acceleration. Thousands. Chant annulment. Appraisal. All of creation. Extra skill. Magic sense. Intrinsic skills. Material creation. Resistance, nullification. Thermal fluctuation resistance. Pain nullification. Physical attack nullification. Magic. Fire magic. Water magic. Wind magic. Unfortunately, Predator and Sage both need targets to use. And currently there can't be any potential targets in sight, whether it be living or non-living. So Argent is experimenting with his magic abilities and potential firepower when he needs to fight, as well as the limitations of his abilities. He does not need any chanting, and was extremely efficient, especially with both water and fire magic. Few more years have passed and Argent began noticing that a few kilometers from where he is that demons have been born, and many more on the process of being born. From what he could sense, they were lesser demons. Monster in appearance, but similar in race to him. He could see them fighting and killing each other. From what he could study from their behavior, it would seem fighting for supremacy, dominance is a natural instinct of demons, especially lower level ones. He could somewhat understand how they felt. He also wanted to prove himself to be strong and wanted to fight other strong beings. However, unlike the lesser demons, he wasn't dumb enough to just fight without thinking. In that aspect, he realized the difference between lesser and greater demons, with lesser being not only weaker than greater demons but also lacking in the intelligence department. He just continued to ignore them as they didn't seem to notice him. That was until now. A demon finally came and got close to Argent. He looked at Argent and attacked him soon after. Argent sighed to himself. He knew this day would come, and he would be noticed by others soon. Not even dodging the claw the demon swung at him, he caught it with his hand. The demon tried retreating, but his hand would not budge with Argent's grip. Argent quickly pulled the demon closer using its arm, and using his other arm pierced the demon in its throat. It coughed up blood as it wriggled in pain until the light in its eyes finally disappeared. "Do I really have to do this?" With those words being mumbled by him, he removed his hand on the demon's throat and licked the blood on his hand. After which he quickly looked at the demon's corpse. If left alone, it will soon disappear to become magicules. Instead, he licked his lips and sat down to start devouring the corpse. He didn't acquire any new abilities. Obviously, the demon is weaker than him, and if it did have some ability, he would have had it already. He did analyze himself using Sage, and while basically insignificant, his power did grew for a few decimals below a percent. He was satisfied with that. At the very least, he knew he could get stronger by devouring other demons, and that made him happy. After his first fight, lesser demons have started noticing and going after him, which he greatly appreciated. He finally had targets to use his abilities. Magic in general can affect spiritual beings like them, so he used magics sometimes to test out the maximum endurance of the demons as well as how much he needed to finish one of in one blow. 2 years after, he was finally noticed by demons. While lesser demons were dumb demons, they weren't without a brain. After seeing other demons being prey to his attacks, they stopped fighting each other and started working together to defeat him. He really learned a lot from his lesser demon friends, so much that he gave them painless deaths and devoured them with a smile on his face. Though, for a bystander's view, he would look like an insane cannibal about to feast on its favorite food. Argent finally decided that it was time to change location and travel around the surrounding areas. Alright. Skills. Check. Magic. Check. Resistance. Check. Physical abilities. Check. He checked the status of his body first before finally leaving. What he discovered was that the area he was in had fewer magicules than most areas. After leaving, he felt the amount of magicules increased. He also saw more lesser demons on the surrounding fighting. He just ignored them and continued his journey. Then, he saw something interesting. He saw another greater demon like himself. This one also has a more humanoid appearance like himself, though it did have horns on their head. Argent saw it giving orders to a group of lesser demons to attack another group of lesser demons. Hey, Tilda, it must be the leader. Huh. Interesting idea to use the lesser demons as subordinates to increase not only your strength but your influence as well. Argent thought while watching them wipe out the last of the enemy demons. One of the lesser demons saw him. It quickly reported him to the greater demon. The demon looked in his direction and was marching in his direction with the lesser demons. The greater demon had an appearance of a woman in her early 20s, with red short hair in a bob cut, and horns on the side of her head. You there, demon? Come join me and become my subordinate, she said, not even giving Argent a chance to refute. Placing her arms to her waist as if it was already obvious. Argent was going to accept her order. I'm sorry, but I would have to refuse, he said as he quickly walked in the opposite direction. She was dumbfounded, mouth agape at the words that left Argent's mouth. Wait right there. Do you have any idea who I am? I am part of the primordial Red Rouge's lineage. Most would kill to even have a connection to one such as I. She flaunted her position as a member of Rouge lineage. Argent remembered Rouge somewhat. While vague, he remembers him being a long red-haired male demon. He also remembered that he himself had a title called a primordial. However, his had a semi in it. I think I should keep that title or secret. I can only foresee trouble in the future if that got out. While coming to that conclusion, Argent prepared himself. This will be the first time that he will be fighting another greater demon like himself. I don't care if you're part of any of the colored primordials lineage, I still refuse. With that as the last line Argent was able to utter, the greater demon quickly came full force to Argent, dodging her quickly. However, he got graze in his arm. I see. Then you will have to die, she said with a cold expression on her face. The lesser demons then started attacking him. 5 of them already surrounding Argent and a few more outside of that circle. He started fighting them to get out of the encirclement. He saw from afar that the greater demon was chanting. She must be preparing a magic spell to finish Argent off. Using his extra skill Sage, he quickly started analyzing the magic that she was planning to use. Using thought acceleration, he was able to figure out that it was a fire-type attack. Preparing to counter it with his own magic, he waited for her to attack. Now, he heard her shout, and quickly the surviving lesser demons that were cornering him left. Burn my enemy to cinders. Flame Lance. With those final words, a fire with the shape of an arrowhead appeared on her right arm and was larger than her body. She must have put a lot of magicules in that to be that big. Argent concluded with himself. Water vortex, Argent muttered silently. Water started appearing in front of Argent. It was a vortex of water that would look like a portal in the front part. The main use of this magic is not to attack but to defend against fire-type attack. The vortex part would swallow up the attack and quickly extinguish the flame as it whirls inside. Truth be told, Argent didn't have to defend against flame attacks as he has thermal fluctuation resistance. But he wanted to test not only the power of a fellow greater demon, but to test the usefulness of the magics that he has up his sleeves. Impossible chantless magic. And that's strong as well. You? Who are you really? Which lineage are you from? She shouted frantically. Argent didn't answer. Instead, he started to prepare to attack her to quickly finish her off. He planned to make sure she won't be able to revive after this battle. Unlike Argent's other battle where he let the souls go so they may be able to revive once more as demons to be defeated, this time he plans to devour her whole, both body and soul. He instantly moved close to her and punched her in the gut with his fist. Unlike Argent, the demon woman doesn't seem to have pain nullification or even any resistance at all. She was cowering in her knees, holding her stomach to the punch Rimuru inflicted on her. You lot get him, she shouted to the lesser demons watching, not being able to process the events that have just happened. Argent placed a hand near the cowering demon and said, Water jail. An orb-shaped water started being created with the greater demon in the middle. I placed a lot of magicules in that magic. If she does escape from it, then I underestimated her quite a bit. If not, then I was correct in my assessment on her strength. While the demon woman was shouting inside the ball of water, ordering the demons to help her escape, Argent was already slaughtering the remains of her small group of lesser demons. She tried escaping by punching and pushing herself on the water, which only resulted in her being wounded by the water current that was flowing in the ball. Finally, the sounds of battle stop outside. She realized just how strong the demon she tried picking a fight with and deeply regretted even thinking about what she did. Suddenly an arm grabbed her by her neck. She was pulled outside the water imprisonment. What she saw was the corpses of all the lesser demons with her. They all looked like they were pierced in either the throat, eyes, or heart, making sure that they are all dead. Argent, with his right hand on her neck, raised her up in the air with her feet dangling below. Demons don't need air. However, what Argent is doing is not blocking air but choking her by gripping her throat tightly. She tried resisting by activating magics but were quickly countered or dodged. She stopped resisting and closed her eyes, accepting the defeat and death that will befall her. Next thing she knew, she was pierced in the chest with Argent's other arm. Not only that, he was able to grab her soul with his bare hands. That left her wide-eyed. The last thing she saw was Argent ripping her soul out of her body before finally dying. Looks like my theory was right. We can grab souls in this place, he thought while holding the demon's soul in his hand. Normally speaking, demons don't have a physical body, which would mean we can't be hurt using physical means. And yet, in here we can punch each other, stab each other, which is contradictory to not being able to attack us with physical means. That's when I remembered we are all spiritual beings here. And we all don't have physical bodies. That would mean we are not attacking each other's body, physical, but actually attacking our spiritual bodies. Even more proof is that at the center of the spiritual body is where the astral body is, which is the vessel of our core, or can be called our soul. I am holding an astral body right now, which is all the proof I needed to confirm my theory. Now do I eat it? I mean, if I let it go, she might revive and tell Rouge about me, I muttered to myself while looking at the core. Well, here goes nothing. I ate it all in one bite. I actually felt myself get stronger, unlike when it was just the lesser demon corpses. I only ate the main course, astral body of a greater demon. I still have my appetizers, lesser demon corpses, and desserts, greater demon corpse, to eat. Let's chow down. To be continued.